Now it's time for Cardinals check-in. Every week, we get an opportunity to check in with Pat, talk to Pat about the previous ball game and the upcoming matchup. Week 4 recap consists of the Arizona Cardinals traveling to Charlotte, North Carolina to play the Carolina Panthers. Unfortunately, it was a loss, the second straight loss coming from the hands of the Carolina Panthers, 31-21. Pat, I got an opportunity to watch the game for 4 quarters. You played in the game. Give us a little bit about what went wrong on Sunday.
Just tackling for the most part. They hit us with a lot of mixed direction things. So just getting our eyes in the right place. And as far as from the offense, from the outside looking in, it just looked like we were never in sync. Just could never get out of first gear for the most part. Special teams. They obviously did what they had to do. Giving up that. On the exception of giving up that block punt in that game, but overall it was just not an overall good performance as a team. So we just have to go back to the drawing boards. Go back to the drawing boards. Every man have to look themselves in the mirror and find out what they can do to help contribute into W's. Instead of L's. So we have our work cut out for us, and every season you face adversity, and it's going to happen at some point. And I believe with us facing adversity early, it's going to help build character of this football team. So I'm not saying that I'm excited that we had these 2 losses back to back, because we definitely felt that those were games that we should have won, but it's behind us now. Only thing that we can do is learn from it. So. We have a big game against the Jets in New York. All the odds are stacked against us. We got to go back East Coast again on a 2-day trip. So we have to make sure that we're mentally prepared and physically prepared for another war on Sunday. Because we know we're going to get Sam Darnold and the troops' best shot.
Well, I can tell you this much, Pat. I can say this, and you can't say this because you're still playing the game and you're getting ready to play against the Jets. But I'm going to keep it real with you. Whenever you're in a slump, you kind of standing in some quicksand and you're trying to get some momentum going, the Jets is who you need to call. When you watch Ghostbusters and you saw some ghosts, who you call was Ghostbusters. If you need a win or if you're struggling, who you call? The Jets. I'm sorry, Jets fans, but stop me when I tell a lie. And right now I ain't telling no lie. So, that's a great matchup to have, and we're going to dive more into that matchup. But, hey, you need a win, who you call? Who you going to call? The New York Jets.
Mo Rooney. Remember that commercial?
Hey, so what's crazy, though, Pat? Me and you text all the time weekly, about the matchups and specific matchups that you might have. But I text Pat Sunday morning. I think it's around 10:30. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, boy, it's a good. I said something like it's a good day to get a pick or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to get a pick for sure.
And I'm watching the ball game. Working, looking at all the ball games, but I always tune in to watch you and watch the Cardinals. And I'm looking at the game, and I said, wait a minute. I'm looking at the design of the coverage. I see where you were at. You're on the left side of the football field, left corner. And usually I kind of pinpoint what kind of coverage y'all in based on my knowledge of the game. And I see you go from a flat corner and just ultimately improvise and create depth to potentially play like a safety-like position. And Teddy Bridgewater did not understand the disguise concept and threw it right in your chest. Talk us through that entire play. So what I want you to do, Pat, me and you can have football talk all day and we understand it. But I want you to simplify this thing and break it down to exactly the call that y'all were in and what were your responsibilities that led to an interception for your team.
Yeah, we was in I can't tell you the exact call we was in, but we was in a particular technique to where I had to play a tight half technique, which will make me 7 yards depth playing the corner position, but at the snap of the ball having to get back to about 12 to 15 yards depth, 2 yards inside the numbers. It's a great boundary call because I don't have to run extremely too far, but on that one we got it into the field. So I had to bust my butt a little bit harder to get to my landmark because I had 3 receivers in my area. But
Yeah.
going back to the, like I said, defense, and that put so me and the safety pretty much switched responsibilities. Now he's
So
playing
so you had
what?
three. So you had three receivers. So you got to play the deepest of three, whatever the deepest one
Yes.
is. Okay, gotcha.
Yep. And they ran, and the route they ran nothing but a 87 seam.
Mm-hmm.
So with the
Explain to the listeners and viewers what an 87 seam is.
so with the three receiver side, the Z receiver ran he ran the big post
Mm-hmm.
at around about 18 to 20 yards, and then the tight end, which is considered the Y, he ran the 7 route, which is
The
comes
corner.
around about 15, just under the 8, so they can kind of create that window and kind of put the corner in the bind. But we was in a perfect call for that route combination, and the slot receiver just ran a seam, which the Mike linebacker was running up the seam with, so I didn't have to too much worry about the seam route. But had, like I said, I knew I had to bust my butt and get great depth to where I can get my eyes back on Teddy and also dissect the route. And I saw him set up. I saw D lineman, I believe it was Zach, who applied pressure, and he didn't see me get back into that tight half technique. And like you say, he threw it right to me. I wish I had about 2 more feet of inbounds to work with, because I definitely would have took that to the house. Wasn't
You gonna
nobody
try
in
to get in
front
the
of me.
paint?
It wasn't nobody in front of me, because it was everybody. It was
Oh yeah,
87
yeah, yeah,
seam
yeah. You're
on
right.
3
You're right.
receivers, and the other receiver on the back end ran like a post in the back flare. Teddy got hit when he threw the ball,
Yeah.
so it wasn't nobody in front of me.
And I know you're not letting Teddy tackle you anyway.
No. Teddy can't tackle me, man. I can't let that happen.
Hey, you know they come in bunches, so get ready this week. Because like I said, you know, who you gonna call? New
I
York
know,
Jets.
man. Yes,
Maybe
sir.
Uncle
Yes,
Sam can
sir.
throw you one this week, Sam Darnold.
Man, I need one.
Talking about momentum, and I tell people this all the time, especially fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Momentum is a funny thing. You don't see
Right.
it, but you feel it. And at that
Oh yeah.
point, when you talk about getting the interception, y'all were down 14-0, and that interception
Right.
led to the first scoring drive for your offense. Talk about the momentum, the change of momentum that happens for a team when you create turnovers.
I mean, the momentum is big, especially at that point of the game, being down. We needed a spark from someone, and that someone needed to make that play and ignite the team. And unfortunately, it didn't ignite us enough to go on to win that game. But it did. We did get points out of that interception. So that was huge. And as you know, anytime you get points off a turnover, that's always big, because that
No
that
question.
that that helps that turnover margin and your minuses and pluses. So we just want to as a team, we just have to go back to the not necessarily go back to the drawing board, but just understand on who we are. That when we line up and play football teams and go out there and play on Sunday, we just can't expect to roll out and just out talent and outplay someone. We have to execute the game plan. We have to be in tune in our assignment, and then when we continue to win ball games, then that's when that mentality is able to be created. But we have to be able to, create that mentality by going out there winning ball games,
And
throughout
and
the rest
in
of the
that
season.
call, you basically played corner and you played safety. You guys had to deal with a lot of injuries in the secondary,
Yeah,
primarily the safety position. And one player that I thought would have a huge impact defensively was first rounder Isaiah Simmons. I think he was selected number 8 overall by the
right.
Cardinals. And fans have
Mm-hmm.
been a bit curious about his role. Is he a linebacker? Is he a safety? But we haven't really seen the impact that we thought we would see when you look at
Yeah.
what he did at Clemson, throughout his
Mm-hmm.
collegiate career. Tell us a little bit about, who he is as a player and why we haven't seen the production we thought we would see based on the investment that the Cardinals made in selecting him top 10. And he was deserving of going top 10, in my
Oh
opinion, but
yeah.
we haven't seen that transition
Mm-hmm.
of collegiate production on the NFL field yet.
Yeah, that's just something that's hard to pinpoint, and but also at the same time, you know, when he was in college, he played so many different positions. And to me, in college, it's not as complex as it is in the league. You know, him not having, you know, an off season to be able to really find out what position will be good for him versus doing the virtual meetings and things like that. And also, you know, I'm sure they didn't expect, you know, DC to have the season that he's having, you know, because it's hard to
Oh,
put,
Campbell
you
can
know,
play.
what I mean, it's hard to put, you know,
Campbell.
that type of guy on the bench when necessarily your first round is not technically ready, you know.
You
So I
you
think,
remember you remember when y'all signed Campbell? First thing I told you, I said Fort Myers can play ball.
oh yeah, he can play, and
Yeah.
you know he got he knows the game, very very high IQ, you know, and just fits well at that position. And he's a vet. You know, he played a lot of ball, not having an off season, so it'll be better for him to adapt to something like this versus having a rookie coming from college that don't really know the scheme, don't really know the system, to come in and expect him to play fast. But I will tell you this: he is a great kid, and he's slowly trying to find out his role on this team. You know, and that's the most difficult part. You know, for a young player coming from all the success that he had in college and some of the things he was able to do, and now he feels like, you know, he's kind of handcuffed. But in a sense, you know, he's not able to really go out there and showcase his talent. But at the same time, you know, you know, where can we put him, you know, to help him be successful on the field? That's going to come down to coaches. You know, that's what they get paid to do. You know, putting, you know, their best players in positions to be successful. So, you know, he can play. He can play anything. He can play the mode. He can play safety. But at the same time, you know, as a safety, what safety you going to put him in front of? You know, what
Yeah.
linebacker you going to put him in front of? You know what I mean? What outside linebacker you going to put him in front of? So that's the thing. So hopefully we can find a role for him here pretty soon, because he's definitely a great talent. You know, don't get me wrong about that. He's definitely a great talent, and I can't wait to see him start to flourish in this league here pretty soon.
Yeah. I know we talked about the week 5 matchup a little earlier. Road trip to New York. You know, Pat, anytime you go to New York, it's a big deal. Regardless
Yeah.
of the team you're playing against, it's a big deal. You travel to play the New York Jets. What's the mentality going up against a winless team that has been struggling the entire year?
Man, honestly, for us, hell, we lost 2 games ourselves, so we trying to get back on the winning side of things as well. You know, we know last year, you know, I wasn't on the team. I wasn't, you know, on the team throughout this part of the season, but you know, at this time we was 0-3-1.
Yeah.
You know, and not being a part of the team at that time, I knew what it felt like, you know, going to practice each and every day, because you know you putting all you can into getting W's, but it's just not happening. So, you know, they're going to be desperate. They're going to give us their best shot. You know, we understand that we can't, you know, fall into the trap. You know, if we know we're a good team, we know we're supposed to go in there and win. We know we're supposed to go in there and dominate. We shouldn't give them any chances. We have to go in there and do that. You know, we can't let teams or let, you know, situation hang around, linger around. Next thing you know, you're in a dogfight. You know what I mean? You got to go and set the tone from the get-go. And I believe that's what happened, you know, to us the last 2 weeks. Is just you know, we could have put those games away, in my opinion. I mean, we started off slow in the Carolina game, but the Detroit game, we definitely could have put that game away. But we let those guys hang around, and not win in the situation of football. And next thing you know, we end up losing that game. So going into this game against the Jets, we just want to play dominant football and get back on track. We know that's not going to be easy, because we're on the road, going to play a East Coast team again, coming from the West Coast. So, like I said earlier, all the odds going to be stacked against us, but we can't let that be an excuse.
Yeah. And they're winless. But I can tell you this much, you know, Sam Darnold has been fighting. He's been competing. Watching that Thursday night game last week,
He definitely was competing.
Yeah, he's competing and he's making things happen, if not with his arm, with his leg. So he's a guy that's going to fight for 4 quarters. And one of his primary pass catching option is Jamison Crowder. Now, the matchup that I think ideally would be for you guys is to line you up on Jamison Crowder. But the thing about Jamison, Pat, he lines up a lot in the slot. And,
Yeah, they move him around a lot.
yeah, they move him around a lot. So is there a potential matchup with you and Jamison Crowder? And if so, would you follow him when he's in the slot as well?
I don't know. I haven't got the game plan yet. But we're gonna have to, empty, empty our toy box, our toolbox. We have to go all out, to stopping teams at what they do best. We can't let teams beat us at what they do best. We have to take away their best opportunities, and hopefully they have a good counter and that they can fall back on. And if not, we have to continue just sticking to playing fundamental football that's going to help us get us out of down. So, we'll just see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be. I guess I'll find out tomorrow because that's when the game plan goes in. So as of right now, I really don't have a clear indication of, who I may be traveling to.
Well, that's a cool nugget for fantasy owners that potentially may consider using Jamison Crowder this week. You got to consider that if you put him in your lineup, you don't know how productive he will be when you got P2, Pat Peterson, following him. So I guess we got to wait and see. We got to wait and see what the game plan holds for the Arizona Cardinals on the defensive side.